This is my piece, and it's titled Internal Logic, but I keep calling it Inner Logic. So there's something about that in my head that keeps getting mixed up. Same idea. I was always fascinated that the study of logic, like when you go to college and you study logic, was math driven, when in my mind and thoughts about logic, it seemed more word driven to me, and feeling driven. That logical things were about doing the right thing or feeling, having that sense, rather than a math formula. So when I began to make this piece, I began to understand that it had something to do with logic. I did what any academic would do. I taught for 32 years in college, so I did what any good researcher would do, and I researched it. I looked at what does it mean to have logic or be logical. So, y'all, I had knee surgery and I'm having a hard time standing. Let me just lean. Oh, that's better. Okay. So formal language used in math and logic is a language designed for use in situations in which natural language, the language that we use to communicate, is unsuitable because it's unpredictable. So like the word divine has at least two meanings, one that has to do with a deity and one that has to do with foretelling, divining, as we use that as an adjective. So that makes our language that we communicate with a little bit unpredictable when you're trying to do something precise. So formal language relies on symbols and formulas for precision, and their order makes a difference in their meaning. So this piece, Inner Logic, is a visual form of that idea. Thank you so much. My leg's just about to give out. It just got really tired all of a sudden. Okay, made of over 100 4x4 images that are largely symbol-based. Some with strong visual bonds. So you'll see some pieces here that have a direct relationship to one another, like this piece and this piece. Some have strong, very strong symbolic bonds, and some have no symbol bonds at all, no relationship to each other. Their meaning and strength comes from when they're placed together. Okay, so I made 400 little pieces that had no relationship with each other or little relationship with each other to see what would happen when I put them all together. Okay, what does this have to do with sisterhood?
A lot.
A lot, right?
Yes.
We are each our unique individual selves. We have strength in that unique self. But when you put us together, things happen, right? Sort of magical things happen. And isn't this a perfect metaphor for sisterhood? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask for some audience participation. One, two, three, four, five. Each unique, right? Y'all look at them. Look at each other's. They're all different, right? Okay. Now hold them all up together. Together. Look at them together.
Okay.
What happens when you look at them together? Surprise. What do they start doing?
They start talking to each other.
They start talking to each other. Yeah. The words take on different meanings with the other words, and the images take on different meanings with the other images.
So interesting.
Yeah.
That we can each be unique. We can each be unique individuals with depth and complexity, but when we form a common bond, what we just did with our little cards, or have a common need, our uniqueness forms a collective. So I'm sure you can all think of great examples of that. but this show is one, right? Each individual works strong on its own, but together, it's magic. It represents women in art. It represents women in art historically. It represents the future of women in art. The Women's March that happens in January every year in Washington, great example of what happened when women get together to speak about their own autonomy, right? Their own rights and freedoms. What about the National Association of Women Artists, a 135-year-old organization that started because 5 women saw a need? What about a voting bloc? Ooh, that's a big one. The women form a voting bloc that politicians are always clamoring for, right? On a broader scale, this is a perfect metaphor for humanity. We are here together on a planet that has given us so much. If we could use our inner logic in the ways we relate to one another, maybe some of our barriers would crumble. Maybe respectfulness for each other and our planet would increase and become at least as important as our individual needs and desires. It's a lofty goal, but inner logic seems a really good place to start. What if Faith Ringgold, who many of you probably know we lost yesterday, a beautiful artist who went before us so that we could be here. What Faith Ringgold said about her work also applies to mine. I'm not so presumptuous to feel that they're gonna get it right away, get exactly what I have in mind. I hope that they'll enjoy looking at it at any rate, whatever. So that's my internal logic as it relates to sisterhood.